Welcome back to Find Your Alpha podcast. My name is Buki and I'm your host, and I'm here with another photographer speaking today. His name is Daniel Obasi. Now, I don't want to spill too much. I think I'm going to let him tell his story. So, first question I'm going to ask you. First of all, welcome to Find Your Alpha podcast. Thank you for joining me.
Thank you for dragging me here.
And I'm going to ask you, what do you do? What do you do?
Well, I wear many hats. Currently, I'm a photographer, an art director, and an experimental filmmaker.
Okay.
And I come from fashion, so I worked for a while as a stylist.
Okay.
I think that's how I began. And then now, currently, my newest project is developing a community space and creative studio called AMA Studio.
AMA Studio.
Yes.
Okay. And what's the studio going to serve? Like, who is it going? What part of the community is it going to serve?
People like myself who are young and are just looking for somewhere to connect, meet,
Right.
and just like share ideas, think of work together, enjoy good music, eat food, have fun.
Very Alte, as they say.
I mean, I wouldn't necessarily say all say because it's very much inspired by Stranger Lagos. I don't know if you knew Stranger Lagos, which is like where I used to go to from uni. I'll go from Unilag to Lekki, and Yagua had this place called Stranger Lagos, and all the best minds in Lagos, you just come there and chill. So that's what I'm trying to
Replicate.
not replicate, but just like pay an homage to, because it really
Right.
inspired me a lot growing
Okay.
up. The conversations mainly. So we don't have that anymore now. So I'm like curious about what that could look like in this type of climate.
Awesome. So, how'd you go from fashion into
All of that.
all of that? Yes, whether as a experimental filmmaker
Filmmaker.
or a photographer.
I feel like
Yeah.
experimental filmmaker is just a fancy word of saying like I'm not really good with narratives.
Well, that's honest.
Yes, I'm not really good with narratives. I don't like dialogues. I like films that are just very visual
Right.
driven and mood driven and feelings driven than a lot of like talk. Because if I wanted, I would just grab a book and read. So I think that's it. But I also don't like very linear storytelling. So sometimes you will see me working in the fashion film space. You will see me working in like music video spaces. You will see me working on art film spaces. So
Right.
those are kind of places that you would see me. But when it comes to the serious part of my life, I worked in film for a while as a costume designer.
Okay.
And then I worked in some films as an art director. So I'm very visual driven when it comes to my work, whether it's the art direction, whether it's the costuming, what is the world building. That's really where I excel. I think that's why people pay me money for the most.
Oh, okay. So would you call yourself a fashion photographer, or do you have other genres of photography that you play in?
So when I started out trying to be a fashion photographer, but then I was like told like, oh, the images are not glossy enough because I wouldn't do your clean retouching.
Right.
So where you don't see where it's superly airbrushed, so people wouldn't consider that fashion. They'd be like, oh, that's artsy. It's very artsy. He's very very grunge. So I would go into like the art space. I'm like, oh no. It's not too dark. It's not dark enough for us.
Oh,
It's not too
wow.
Africanized enough for us. It's not too like we need to see that I guess, but and then so I stay in the middle. So I just call myself now an artist
Okay.
and just create images that I think fit into my world.
And what is that? What is your world?
My world is very big on African narrative. It's
Okay.
very big
On
on
culture?
On I would say culture, but from my own point of view, because I feel like I don't really believe in having to try too hard to like establish that, oh yes, this is this. I celebrate culture every day. I celebrate where I'm from as much as I can. I'm from Abia State, so I'm
Okay.
Igbo. So, but because I live in Lagos as well, I'm very much influenced by a multi-hyphenate of different cultures
Right.
every day. So I try to like bring that into my work as well. Sometimes I create work that people would say, oh wow, like I think there's this project I did one time with Laki Gumbawa where we did a whole bridal series, and
Okay.
it was like creating an editorial around Nigerian brides. And I said to him, I was like, for this particular project, I'm gonna make it look as extravagant as possible. So I took the concept of a bride and like enlarged it times 3. So nobody would actually dress like that normally,
Right.
but like over dramatize it to feel like an art piece.
An art
So
piece.
those are ways that I approach culture, is like taking one little concept and either just moving away from it or just like rethinking it in a way that it's fantastical, surreal, and I guess beautiful.
It's an interesting approach, I guess.
Yeah.
And not mainstream, I
No.
would say, not mainstream. But I think there is a place for everyone, for every sort of creative, I think, regardless of whether you can even explain the genre or you can't explain the genre.
I mean,
I think there is a space for everyone to sort of find joy, and find expression within, within the industry.
I think I would say like an easy way to describe things that I've done or how I do it is when you write a book. I think of myself more as a writer. I feel like I'm writing stories or I'm writing worlds that are obviously influenced by reality, but in all, it's very surreal. So it's leaning into reality and pulling from reality and creating this fantasy or this surreal world that kind of also is very, because I'm very big on like my subject matters are very queer, they're very feminine, they're always talking about how the society approaches masculinity.
Right.
It also talks about how society approaches women. So, but I always want those minorities to be powerful in the world that I'm building.
Right.
Because when you look at the reality of it, it's the opposite. So I think that's where it is. Because it's fantasy, I have that ability and I have that,
You have the
that freedom,
liberty.
the liberty
Yeah, the
to do
liberty.
that. As opposed to documentary where I would have to tell it as it is,
As
which
it
I
is.
can't because I've done that before. But I will lean into that and then take that. I think a lot of times when people ask me about that, I call it the what if factors. Like I'm like, okay, what if women were not actually this? What if it wasn't like this? What if there wasn't such a thing as bigotry? What if there wasn't such a thing as tribalism? What if
Yeah.
we all could exist happily without this thing? What if it was okay to? Because I also feel like the Nigerian culture, our cultures kind of all extend beyond just this particular borders. I think we have things in common with people from different parts of West Africa that it's very interesting. Something I noticed too, when you watch some foreign films, some people in a movie, someone can speak French, Spanish, and English in that film, but you would hardly see a Nigerian film where someone is speaking Igbo, Tiv, what's the other word? Or another
Like speaking multiple Nigerian languages.
not just even Nigerian, like
But
West
multiple
African languages. We're very set. We're very restricted within how we feel we should visually interact with other cultures that are not just our own, and I think that's not cool. Because before the concept of Nigeria or something else was created, tribes did exist.
Yeah.
So that's things that I'm trying to encourage or create realities or my own type of realities where things like this are oh, okay, a thing.
So for you as a creative, what does being an alpha or finding your alpha mean to you?
I think it's having enough money to just do what you want to do.
I think that's the first honest answer I've gotten. Money.
I've been giving very honest answers. I don't lie.
No. I'm saying
very real answer.
That is real.
Yeah, I'm very grounded in reality. So, it's I'm very real like that. Money is definitely, I think money and a platform,
Right.
which I've been building for myself. So I spent a lot of time trying to build a platform for myself, trying to see if people can even pay attention to whatever it is I will be saying in the next couple of years or what I'll be saying in this time. So, but then also trying to build a community that I think cares about it. I think that's why the AMA idea came about, building
Right.
a community that, okay, cares about what you're trying to do, or you can encourage each other to do more stuff. Because I feel like a lot of things that's killing the creative space here is people do not know how to collaborate financially.
Right. Yes.
So they don't know how to collaborate and make money together.
Yes.
So I do a lot of work with my friends. A lot of my projects, if you check the credits, a lot of them are friends who I've known or people who I've met along the way and just okay, here's a $1 million
let's do it
project.
together.
Let's do it together. Here's a $2 million project. I've rarely had opportunities where people have offered me things like that. But whenever I can or get the chance to, I'm like, okay.
It's usually the case, isn't it? When you are usually the one who's hey, I've got this project, you calling
do
your
this.
people, let's do it.
Yeah.
People just
So I
Don't
guess that is my own idea of being an alpha, being able to do things on that level.
the way
And
you want them.
the way I think, because I have a very particular taste and I have a very strong sense when it comes to what is visually right. So whether if I'm working on a building, whether I'm working on a person in terms of like image building, whether I'm working on a film, whether I'm working on this, like excellence is really, really important to me. And telling that story right is very important. So I guess that's just how I would phrase that.
Well, that's fair enough. Well, Daniel Obasi, what is your I don't know pseudonym, stage name, creative name? I don't know.
It's really just Daniel Obasi. Like, and it's, I guess I'm on Instagram, it's I'm Daniel Obasi. On Twitter, it's I'm Daniel Obasi. On Twitter, TikTok, it's I'm Daniel Obasi. So it's like
It's Daniel
it's
Obasi,
Daniel
guys.
Obasi. Yeah.
Well, thank you, Daniel, for joining me on the podcast and Find Your Alpha podcast. It's been a really great talking to you, and I think hearing a different perspective of
Yep.
creativity and your idea and the world that you're trying to create for yourself and the people in your community. So thank you so much for joining me.
Oh, thank you
Thank
so
you.
much. This
Thank
was
you.
fun.